everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone. Today, I'm very excited to learn from these two incredible luminaries, my friend Nina Patrick and my new friend Fiona Robertson. Good morning, everyone. So today we are going to talk about how...
Good morning, Kathy.
Oh, good. There we go. Today we're going to talk about living intuitively and how, which sounds great, but these two ladies have figured out a way to teach how to do that. So who wants to start? They have a 12-week long class called Living Intuitively. And they say you're going to be surprised and delighted, and I imagine you will. So who wants to start talking about how you came up with the idea that you could teach it? Because I don't think I could teach what I do.
Oh, well, thank you, Kathy. Thank you. I think I'll just pop in and say, I think I would preface it also by saying living intuitively means so many different things. Certainly, as we develop our skill of intuition, a lot of things open up to us. So it becomes living joyfully. It becomes living in the flow. It becomes living miraculously. From my perspective, I immerse myself in the field of the miraculous. From Fiona's perspective, she lives a magical life, and it could be living a life that's highly creative, being high in manifestation, really manifesting your dreams in a powerful way. So it really translates in many different ways, but it's about our process and our path of becoming fully integrated as divine and human, right? Accessing our super conscious capacities. So for me, as founder of the Milagro World Center, Miracle World Center, and
Yes.
Miracles of the World Foundation, I really come from that perspective. Our vision is humanity's potential realized. And so that really is about our capacities to be more, to do more, and to create more in the world. Becoming this integrated, fully divine, fully human individual and community. It can be both. So when we say living intuitively, it certainly is about honing our skill of intuition, but it's also becoming intimate with the way our body temple works for us. Because this is about like balancing the left and right brain. It's about becoming more sensitive to ourselves, our environment, the other realms. Someone might actually describe this as ascension too. So, like you said, you had just had a conversation with us about an event that you were part of where they were talking about pyramids, and there were 6 different speakers with 6 different perspectives on it. And they were all, listening to one another,
Right.
having this different perspective. And so when we talk about living intuitively, it's coming from one perspective, one way of doing this. And I feel that in naming it, living intuitively, there's a larger audience that can find it relatable, because it means living joyfully. It means living in peace, calm within the chaos. It means so many different. Preface it by saying we're doing. And I'd love to hear what Fiona has to say about that too.
Oh, thank you, Nina. And thank you, Kathy, for having us on. It's an absolute joy to be working with Nina and talking about intuitive ways. We're on our 4th round now, I think, Nina, of living intuitively. And for both of us, that means that we are no longer reading the books. We're no longer just doing what someone else is saying. We've actually shut the books. And we challenge everybody every week to notice when intuition comes through, when you have an intuitive moment, or, because I work very much with the soul, when your soul is coming through, and your body's the barometer. I've come through the whole world of detoxing and body whispering and understanding, and I feel into people when they've got doubt or something like that. So we're feeling the energies, we're working with the energies. So we're challenging people within their own lives as to the practical things that we're using intuition for. So, for example, okay, we talk about being able to find lost keys, or we talk about being able to sort of attract certain things to us. So like things that I talk about, like you want to create something, you are the creator with your thoughts and your feelings. So we put so much into these 12 weeks, and these 12 weeks just keep evolving so beautifully. And I say to Nina, oh my word, I've changed so much in these last 12 weeks. And we can see the difference in each other over the last 3 years we've been together now, Nina, because we met working with Penny Pierce, and then we've sort of did another, and then we did a free 12 weeks, and then we've just kept on kind of evolving with it, because we both bring it from a different perspective. Like Nina said, she's in the miraculous and I'm all to do with the magic, being a sorceress, and I talk to dragons, and I can channel dragons and all that kind of stuff. So, and we're talking about other realms, we're talking about the invisibility, we're talking about the world that you can't see, but we're teaching people how to feel it, because we have to feel our way forwards. I just love living in an intuitive world. I've found so many solutions to problems or things that I want to happen, letting my intuition come through. And if you allow me to, I'll give you one very cool story where I was in the process of becoming a single mum, and I needed to sell the house that I'd been in with my ex. And it had been with an agent for 2 years, and it wasn't selling. And so it was kind of good in a way, because our souls had intervened so that we could actually sort of work out our relationship in those 2 years. It kind of made us friends within those 2 years. So then I was like, do you know what? I can do better than these agents. So how would I do this? So intuitively, I was having a conversation out loud with the house. What do you need for me to sell you? Because we need to move on. I would love someone to love you as much as we loved you, and have a family in here, and have the house. Or what is it that you would need? So she showed me the gate needed painted. She showed me the shutters that would need painted. She said, I want to be pretty. When you leave, I want to be pretty. I was like, well, of course you do. And nobody wants to buy a house that's half done. I'll get that done. Got it done. And then I was still like, well, why isn't this, what else do you need? And she just gave me this picture. When I say she, it's my soul, or the image comes down, and I always refer to it as my soul. This image came down like whiteboard, black stenciled writing, à vendre, because I live in France, for sale, and my mobile telephone number. She said, put it outside the gate. And I argued with my own intuition. I argued, and I said, nobody drives up this road. Nobody will see this. And she's like, put it there and then forget about it. 2 days later, I was in the garden sweeping the yard. Somebody rang me that they'd just driven down the road. Can we come and have a look at your house? And I'm just like, and they came the next day, and I said, I just want to give it a bit of a tidy up. They came the next day, walked around the house once, walked around the house twice, walked around the house 3 times, sat down, we had a cup of tea, negotiated, and it was sold like that. I've sold 3 houses in exactly the same way. When an agent has taken 2 years, because I just handed it over, then when you use your intuition, what do I need? And you ask the right questions. And this is what Nina and I teach in our courses as well. It's like, what are the actual specific questions that you can ask so that you can hear the intuitive answers coming through? That's the beauty of intuition.
Well, I think everyone needs intuition. I think women say they have it, but they haven't refined it. And so it sounds like your process refines the tool in the toolkit, which is really the only way you can make decisions anymore. You can't really use historical things. Well, this worked 5 years ago, so it'll work now. Get that, right?
Or even information, Kathy, right? We look at the news and we don't even know what to believe necessarily.
I don't watch it.
Right. So how can we get through some of that? And that is actually with really feeling what's truth for us, right? And so
Right.
it's really important in that respect as well. And yes, we are, with these practices, it tunes also your ability to access all of your senses for intuition, your sense of smell, your sense of taste, hearing, touch, all of those different ways. So it's opening up the channel in a greater way for you to be really highly attuned to the information coming in. Yeah.
So, and do you find that it's more people our age that are taking your class, or are you inspiring younger women or men to work on their intuition, or is it us?
So far it's mixed, mostly women.
Yeah.
And one thing that we found is a lot of women had kind of said, I had a really good connection with my intuition, but then I lost it. Something happened in their life and they lost it. So they just want to get back into using it. You're right, what you said earlier on, Kathy, that it is female intuition. It is instincts. We have it. But what if you could have it for more things and more practical things? And I call it practical magic, because it's just like you have the ability when you ask the right questions, or what if you could have it for all sorts of different aspects of your life?
Yeah.
And we're not actually refining it or tuning it or actually knowing what else is available or how far we could go. Now that's what I love playing with. I play in the playground. When I'm with my clients, I said, are you ready to play? Because I don't really know where I'm going to be taken or what we're going to do. I've just had an idea and we're going to play, but I don't really know how far we can go. And that's the adventure that I'm on.
Okay.
I would love to be able to see in auras. One of my sons, he sees auras. He talks to animals. Another one, he uses his soul to help him decide which part of his education he's going to use. So there's so much. There's so much more.
Perfect. Well, the reason why I asked that is that I think the Dalai Lama said that the world would be changed by the Western woman, and you can see that over the past 20 years, when you went to any sort of consciousness raising event, it was 80% women. Every once in a while it was 50-50, but not very often. And a lot of times those were people that were those men were drug into the room saying, okay, I'll be there, but I won't like it. So I just wondered because I'm seeing a lot of the 40-year-olds, mid 40-year-olds, men really starting to open up to consciousness, to inquiring minds and playing with it, not being afraid to play with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I asked. So when people start doing this, do they consider it like magic? Because they get validated, they have an intuition, they have an inspiration, they see it in their third eye, mind's eye, or dream it, and then it happens. So how do they,
access our superconscious mind?
Okay.
I'm not sure if I'm having a difficulty in my transmission. Am I coming through okay? Yeah.
Well, you just said
okay,
something
great.
about the superconscious mind, but you are blipping a little.
Blipping a little? Okay. Yeah, I wanted to step back for just a moment when you were talking about the age of individuals participating. I would, I agree with Fiona. We do have some 30-somethings, but what I want to mention is there's a need. What I'm finding, because we have, that we also have a retail resale shop called Wild Raspberry, and we attract a young audience to that. This is all about the environment and sustainability. But what I want to mention is there's a definite need for this group, this younger group under 20, to live a life that's filled with joy and flow and peace and calm. We have an individual here. She's going to be 17. She's 16. She's one of our Rockstar employees. But I asked her, I said, what percentage of your friends in school are depressed or anxious?
Yeah.
And she said 100%.
Yeah.
Or on drugs. Mm-hmm. So, this is one thing that Fiona and I have spoken about, is that is an audience that we really want to be able to touch. And, Kathy, you are touching, our greater community all the time. And it's important for you to hear that too, if you don't already know it, that there's such a great need for that right now.
Right.
To touch the audience.
I think what's happening, honestly, for everyone, no matter, I have a 32-year-old daughter. So what I'm seeing is that anyone who's holding on to the old ways of being, the constructs, the programs that we were trained to be a good girl and get conditional love through being a good girl, all of those are wiped clean. And now we get to see what we really delight in. And as long as it doesn't harm others, and as long as it is done in a positive outlook, people need to follow their bliss. I mean, that's really the truth of it. But I can't imagine what it's like being a junior in high school right now, not knowing if you're going to have your prom, all of that stuff. I've been out of there a long time. So, but I don't know if we can be role models and show a different way of thinking, and show people what it's like getting out of the matrix and what that feels like. That's the best way, I think, that we can help guide people. It doesn't matter what age.
No, it doesn't matter what age. My sons are the same age as the girl that Nina's talking about. And when I heard what Nina was saying, I asked my sons, how do you feel about? And they said 100%. They're all smoking or on drugs or depression, or what really struck me was self-harming, cutting and all those kind of things. I'm like, how can they be so depressed at like such a young age? I'm playing with them all the time, and they're saying, yeah, but Mum, you're in the spiritual realm. I said, yeah, but we could have such juicy conversations with these young people. The jobs that you do, I say to my boys, don't even exist yet. So why get your knickers in a twist about whether you're going to do this job or that job and stay with the educational realm? It's going to be completely different. And I've spoken to Nina about this before. When I see physically what's coming in the next generation, or the generation, our children's children, we physically look so different because we're not holding on to the same problems and the same issues, the same energy, beliefs that this generation is holding on to, the anger, the frustration, the hate, the fear, all the rest of it. Once you've washed all those off, and my kids' generation, they just let the things go so easily. What great teachers they are. Like they just say, oh, well, that was yesterday. I'm not worried about that anymore, Mum. I'm over it. And I'm like, good. So physically, we're going to look very different as well, because you create form when you keep holding on to things. And intuitively, we can, choose to get out of those particular states that we hold ourselves so densely in, so that we can rise consciously and do something in a very, very different way. Yeah, delicious conversations, delicious to be able to have that with kids. I mean, if I'd been able to have that when I was younger with internet wasn't around then, to have that with mature people who are worldly wise, who have the time and the love to spend. It takes a community to raise kids, as you well know. So, yeah, delicious.
Perfect. I'm hoping that this isn't a generate. I don't know why I actually asked about the generations, because I just was curious. But I wondered. I see us going from this. The construct right now we have is violence, war, this whole era past 2,000 years or more, to a time of peace. And we go from people being able to actually be telepathic. You have to have a calm mind. You have to be a different. I can see why, Fiona, you see us as different species, where that transition to that new human, that Homo universalis that Barbara Marx Hubbard talked about, that's a different. That's an overhaul of our nervous systems, of our thought processes, of our focuses on what we want to co-create. Do you want to speak about how you see your course in that progression of the evolution of us? Is that I haven't taken the course, so I hope that wasn't an off topic.
I think it's all part of it. I don't know, Fiona, if you want to respond to it, but I think everything that we're doing and everything that you're doing, Kathy, is all part of it. We're building that path, that golden bridge to the next stage of evolution, however that may look, because we can't really even consciously imagine that. We have, some thoughts about it, but we really don't know what it is, and we don't know how long it will take. But we know without question that we're in the process. And anything that we do that expands our capacity to live more fully expressed, to be more creative, to contribute more, to be more devoted, or I think the contribution, or any contribution that we make towards a more loving, good, and creative world, whether, I say this all the time too, it could be just an individual that goes out and smiles at everyone they meet on the street. It's all part of that evolution towards our higher consciousness. Yeah. So that's what I would say. We're just one small piece of that, but we know one of the gifts of this course too is the community that it engenders. And what we do is support each other in the process of becoming this evolving human. And I have a number of groups that I participate in, and that aspect is so important. And I think you've been speaking to it too, is that we continue to encourage each other and nurture each other and remind each other of what we can be. Because I know I need that all the time. I need the little nudge, or the reminder, or the push, or the, constructive criticism.
Well, I wasn't really, it's more you kind of get these ahas, right? It's like, I didn't know I was blocking that, or but everything's a mirror, right?
I think the course is brilliant in the fact that you have 12 weeks with people that we practice intuitively with. When you realize that you can trust your intuition, you start trusting yourself, you build a strong relationship with yourself. You then allow yourself to play a little bit more, and then you allow yourself to play a little bit more. And then you allow maybe the people in your household to do the same. So like my partner will say to me, I'm looking for this scooter and it needs to be like this, and I want to get some spare parts for that. Can you arrange that for me, my little witch? And I'm like, well, you can do that yourself. Just think about, and I say it to my boys all the time. So change that statement and say what it is that you want instead. What is it that you want? So we go through the process, and I'm like, I'm not doing it all for you. What's the point? And that's the point. We don't do anything for the people who are on our course. We show them that they can, and it's a lovely, safe place to actually know that, oh, I just heard something. I trusted it. That was my intuition. and everything that flow, you're always being intuitive. And I think, I remember going through the same phase of kind of going, oh God, I'm not intuitive enough. And there's like, well, what if that just then was my intuition? What if that voice in my head is my intuition? So now I'm able to kind of say, oh, I just got this. And then it takes you off another path. It takes someone deeper, and you carry on swimming together, and you carry on, you get to where you're going, rather than going, oh, I'm not going to say that. Nobody could be more surprised than me when I was given the idea to do these intuitive readings, the vision that Source has for you, for this group of women that I was in. I was like, I don't do that. And they were like, well, it's not you that does it. It's us that does it. I'm like, yeah, right. I'll just get out of the way then.
Yeah. But there's something about being validated for doing that, or because I do readings too when I do marketing plans, is I do soul path. Actually, it's their soul. I'm a conscious channel, so I'm sitting aside while their soul uses me to explain a movie. I see a full color movie. So yeah, so. But the other thing I wanted to say is that I think that the nurturing part of this is really important, because I learned all by myself, thinking, "Am I crazy? Oops, well, it worked. I guess I'm not."
Exactly. Yeah.
So
there does seem to be a band of women, and we have had to do so much of it on our own. And we feel like that we're the black sheep of the family. We feel that we're nuts. We feel that we're hearing voices in our head. We feel that all this kind of stuff going on. So it's really nice to get that validation and someone kind of saying, what I just, that there, when you just felt that, what happened there, when that passed through your thoughts, or brilliant, that's exactly what you need to be thinking. That's it, so when you get that affirmation and someone holding you accountable, it's solid. It's really very fruitful.
Well, the other thing is sometimes when I am in that space, I'm not totally aware. Like it's like a dream state almost. So that I'm so grateful for Zoom and these programs that allow you to record, so I can go back and see what I said. In the old days, I would be at a whiteboard at my office writing everything down and then trying to capture what it was that I wrote down. And then with being able to watch again with the recordings, I assume is your classes recorded and people can go back and watch it. Mm-hmm. So that's got to be incredibly valuable.
Yes, it is. And it's, it's so delightful to watch each participant grow in their abilities too. I think that's really awesome what you're saying, Kathy, because it's one of the things to trust is when it doesn't make sense, right? You and Fiona just said that right now. It doesn't make any sense. Well, that's really the hallmark of intuition, right? Is it doesn't make any sense. It's beyond us. It's a little bit of higher intelligence. And, one of the questions you asked too, does it seem like magic to someone? And it certainly did to me when it first showed up, right? The first synchronicity I had when I was, the first synchronicity I recognized, let's put it, that was really big, that was inexplicable, was in my 20s. That was huge. It was nothing, short of a miracle or magic for me. And then it's, they appear so often now. I'm still in awe. I'm still in awe, but I have a better understanding that this is who we came to be.
Right. Well, we're supposed to be co-creating with the universe on the cutting edge. And if we don't use our intuition and all of our connection to our higher being, that's the process we're going through right now. Is we're ascending for one of the first times in history, embodied. And so Fiona, when you started talking about embodying it, that was what really got me excited about this course, because that isn't the old ways where you die and you get to ascend. I mean, think of in the religious texts, almost every master had to leave. but here is 8 billion people, and I don't know what percentage are going to ascend with the new Earth, but there's a lot of us that are going to ascend with the new Earth, and it's all about embodying these high frequencies rather than waiting for death. Could you talk about that with this course? Is there work on
I'll talk about it very briefly, and then I'll hand over to Nina, because it is exciting. And it's also exciting because you get to know that you are in touch with a higher consciousness. I remember when I was having those conversations and a girlfriend was helping me understand what was going on for me, and she would get these, like, it's not me, but I'm getting that as a yes. And I'm like, oh my God, I've almost got like a direct line to God. It's amazing. I can ask anything and you can get an answer. Then I started to understand that you had access to your soul, okay, but your soul has been with you for lifetimes. So you've got access to all the skills and all the magic and all the knowing and everything from every single lifetime. Yeah. Now that's mind-blowing. As a human, that's mind-blowing. But as a soul, it's like, duh, yeah, of course you have. And, that's sometimes how my soul kind of like communicates with me. It's just like, are you going to shut up and just ask me one question? Or are you going to carry on asking me 10,000 all in one go? Like, you're so demanding. And I remember when I was, so Kathy, you were talking earlier on about, you have to be calm and peaceful and slow. And so I was talking to my soul and asking questions, and I was like, but you have to speak louder because I can't hear you. You have to speak louder. And it was just like, shut up then. Just like, be quiet and listen. So like, yes, you turn your own human volume down. And we talk about that, being able to shake off your humanness. And things will come through in the fact that, maybe you're going through a bit of a phase or a wobble, a life wobble. And just recently, I just kind of got, that is such a human reaction. And I was like, oh, yeah, it is. Oh, yeah, that was me just being human. Wow, all right, okay. Just wash that off. But yes, obviously, we have access to all of us. And it's sometimes, like Nina said, I'm in awe when something comes down. I'm like, oh, just got an answer. And I say, when you get a message that comes through, it's like being kissed by an angel. You just kind of go, oh, I get it. It's, oh, wow, that's just for me. And you forget that you're an equal with your soul. You forget that you're an equal with any mystical, magical creation that you've got, because you chose to come here. And when you know and when you feel how much they love you for being here, walking on earth, going through what you're going through, it brings a tear to your eye. You're like, really? I'm loved that much? They're in awe of you doing what you're doing.
Right.
Having to change every single cell in your body, every thought in your head, every dimension of you, so that you can ascend.
Wow. Perfectly said. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's perfectly said. I love the kiss of an angel. That's beautiful.
Well, the idea of the access to all of the knowledge, but the knowledge here, people could spend lifetimes spending time just feeding their brain. And what you're talking about is working through your heart. This is the time to connect the two. If you need validation, you go here, or you want a new skill, you go here. But it really is heart work, and getting to love all of life, including yourself, which we weren't really taught to do that. That was selfish.
Yeah. That's beautifully said too, Kathy.
So
beautifully expressed. The other thing I want to mention too about our teaching is that it's so intuitive. So it's a different style of teaching too. There's not, we don't follow a a hard structure. You know, we have a flow, but we really, Fiona and I actually work independently many weeks, and then we come together, and then we're amazed by how,
Cool.
yeah, how integrated the material is and how it works. So we've discovered by accident a different style of teaching too, which is really
That's
cool.
fantastic.
And I would be remiss not to mention that how we came together was through Penny Pierce's work. If you know Penny Pierce, she's
I know who she is, but I don't know her work.
yeah, she's a prolific author. She's been writing about intuition since the 1970s, and she has several books out there. But it was that's how Fiona and I met, was through Penny. And after some of the coursework we did, the first round of Living Intuitively was with several of us who wanted to dive deeper. And then Fiona and I took the torch from there. And then, I mean, it just, we didn't know that we would be doing, we would continue to do this, but that's the way it's showing up.
Wonderful.
So it's really, and we want to also expand this at some point so that it's just a free monthly call for intuitives, for those that are, you strongly use their intuition, like you, Kathy. I mean, that's amazing, the work that you're doing too. And it's actually, if you and Fiona talked about it, I think you're both also focused on businesses and how businesses can tune into the soul of the business, right?
Yes.
And yeah, so you're both doing that kind of work. And so I just wanted to also mention that.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's plenty of work for all of us, because I think we have been. First of all, I think business is one of the fastest ways to turn this boat around, because a servant leader affects the employees as well as the customers. And a lot of conscious business zone is based on helping that servant leader have resources to help them take care of themselves, because they don't have time if they're doing everything for everyone else. And the opportunity is for us to create a kinder, more equitable life. And that's why I think this is a great fit for my audience, to know about you as a resource, and to know that there's lots of ways to build these muscles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also love about what we're doing here too is Fiona's in southern France. So we've got the multicultural dimension to what we're doing.
And I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my intuition either.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
So
that was definitely guided.
Could you share any success stories from the classes of any of the students? Because that would help the people that are listening to see how they might have a success. I know you two have really enjoyed the journey, which is fantastic for the instructors to be growing and expanding as much as the students. But if you could help with that, that might help people decide to take the journey with you. Can you think of anything? Okay.
Yeah. Fiona, you want to mention? What comes to mind for me is Grace and just her expanded. Yeah.
I was going to say about a couple of the ladies who, and let me just say this first. When you're working with intuition, it's just like, oh, intuition, and you go and do it, and then you kind of forget that you ever didn't do it before. So it's not like you get this kind of like, this is you before and this is you after. It's not like the great big before and after, because it's progressive, and it's always like, well, I always did that, and you almost forget at what stage you were at before. It's just like, well, that doesn't exist anymore. So like it's a done deal. But as we've watched people, as well as ourselves, evolve, we've had some sort of steady followers, and you just see things happening in their lives, but then sometimes not even aware that it's just their intuition. It's just all merged and melded into their life, that things just work out so much easier for them, and they've already got a way of making decisions, or dealing with health problems, or dealing with their daughters, or dealing with their family. And in the back of your head, it's just because they've just got this different perspective on their life, or that they always had it. Now they've just brought it to the forefront. I mean, what I say is they've brought their soul all the way through, so that they're seeing through the eyes of their soul, whatever the situation is, and it's making it easier. One of our ladies was in the process of writing a book, and she dropped it, and then she just went, I keep getting all these messages. So, she's picked up and she's writing her book again. And you just see so many people having a different perspective on how they're living their life.
And creative breakthroughs, I think, are one of the things that we've seen, those that are kind of feeling a block in one area or another. And then it just, there's the breakthrough, right? Because they're in tune again.
Yeah, and it is a mixture and a melding, isn't it, Nina, in the fact that it's not even so obvious. It's just that life becomes easier. It's like know who to trust and who not to trust, or what to watch or not what to watch. Or one of the other ladies, I was speaking to her, and she was asking something about her health, and then something just kept popping up on the computer or whatever she was watching, and she went, oh yeah, I used to do that. That worked really well. And it's like, you don't even see how the messages come through, because you've been asking for it. And here they are right in front of you, and there's the answer. And it's not even that you kind of put 2 and 2, and make 4. It's just, oh, well, there's the answer. And it's just so easy and so obvious that it hardly needs mention. Does that make sense?
Well, it's a perspective of trust and being able to make decisions. A lot of what people have talked about during this time period is that people are frozen and can't make decisions. They're because of all the media and there's just so much change. We're in this huge wave of change. And the idea of you being able to go to your intuition and test or ask and be assured that you'll be given an answer that serves you, it's invaluable.
We do group readings too, which is really nice. So someone might have a question around something in particular in their life, and then the group will do a reading. So we do that once every week for one of the questions. Yeah, which is fun. And that's very helpful to what you're saying right there, Kathy. So, tune in, of course, to your own intuition, but it's also valuable to have that, intuitive reading from others as well. And then each of us develops our confidence again. Fiona mentioned confidence. That's a gift of this program too, is you really develop the confidence in the truth of your ability to do this. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love it because I think so many people that were intuitive hit it, and they've stuffed it all these years, and you're giving them a chance to bring it back out, dust it off, and fine tune it.
And it can be used for anything. Hey, Nina, it can be, I talked about the house, or I talk about my kids, helping them choose which feels better for them. Does this feel good if you walk through this doorway? Does that feel better for you walking through that doorway? Does that feel better for you? It's all about using your body as the barometer of like what really feels good. Perfect. I remember I had some people coming to do some work on a house for me when I was a single mum, young boys, and I was like, oh, I don't know, because they were staying in the house. So I thought, oh well, I'll feel into their energy. I'll feel whether I feel safe with them or not. And then we teach, how you can actually sort of feel into somebody that or feel into the person that you want to feel in. You could feel, do I feel safe? Mm-hmm. Do I trust the intention of this person? So you could feel into anything. So it's just, the world is your oyster. There's so many different things that you can use intuition for. We talk about talking to the plants in your garden. Nina did a lovely session one week about the the macabre Nina, about putting the Star of David crystals around the boundary of your house, and we talk about, you know, putting protection over your house. So there's so many different aspects. That was ours, wasn't it, Nina?
Yeah, well, that's when we were speaking about your environment and feng shui and all different aspects of that. Mm-hmm.
Well, this opportunity to get back in touch with the field that you're in and be able to use it rather than relying on what's in this gray matter, which I don't know about you guys, but it seems like a lot of my memories are back in 3D and I'm in 5D and I'm on retrieval trying to remember somebody's last name, or I don't know about you guys, but it's like, I know I'm not old. I swear.
That's interesting that you say that, Kathy. You know what I'm having the experience of is like being in the present. Like I find myself more in the present moment, but then everything that I just did a moment ago drops away. So that's kind of an interesting experience too. Right?
I call that almost like being laser focused. So when you're so laser focused on being now, you can sense it, feel it, and you understand all the intuitive signals coming through to you because you're so here. It's like everything is blacked out. It's just nothing else matters. You know, you're not being affected or influenced by the news or someone's mood or, you know, in the atmosphere in the room. You can also then use it when you're at a party or at dinner and you kind of go, God, I'm feeling really weird. Why am I feeling like that? You know, it makes me want to just overeat or run. Why do I want to run out the door? And you can kind of come back into yourself, use your intuition, and you kind of think, right, who is it that's setting off these alarm bells?
Wow.
Because you can then go around, is it you? Don't feel that from you. Is it you? Don't feel that from you. Okay, it's you. So it's not mine, so I can let that go then. But I was picking up on it because we're all empathic. We're talking about female intuition, sixth sense. We naturally feel all of that. That's why women get so overwhelmed and emotional, because we feel it all. And we can actually then learn how to control it and not give our power away and kind of go, hang on a second, I don't need to take that on and wear someone else's anger or fear or whatever's going on. We can kind of go, well, there I am. Okay, well, it's got nothing to do with me then. And you just let it wash over you, flow in and flow out.
That's perfect. I think the first step of our evolution as a species is that everyone will become empathic. And I think that's going to be the interesting development when a lot of these people realize that we're all one or can sense what they're doing in their environment. And so there's books that I've helped publish. There's, you know, people that are highly sensitive. We're kind of the canaries in the coal mine. and there's been people that have been teaching courses and selling products that teach you different ways to not be so infected, I would say, by others. And that's what you're saying, is you actually can use your intuition to do that. Whereas these people are saying, okay, you feel this way, do this, take this tool out of the toolkit, do this process. But that isn't as effective as what you're saying. What you're saying is you get to actually make yourself aware. Because a lot of childhood trauma people have expanded awareness. A lot of people, that's how they dealt with their childhood trauma.
Yeah, we shut the doors. You know, as this generation, we shut the doors to all our feelings because we don't want to feel that anymore. But then, of course, we shut off the joy and the deliciousness and the love and all the rest of it. But I just got that. This is what the next generation is dealing with. They are way more sensitive than our generation, or whatever way. Doesn't matter what age we are, but they're just so much more sensitive than the previous generations. I was more sensitive than my parents' generation. They didn't get it. But that's why they're feeling so much and they're reacting so much, and they want to use the smoking and the drugs and all that to sort of numb that out, the same as we used a lot of food and those kind of things, all those things, or the video games and watching TV. It's all a way of shutting off and shutting those doors so that we're not affected by the energy and the thoughts and, you know, what we are picking up from other people. So this is a massive skill to be able to, right. I had to teach my son this: walk out of the door and be in your own zone, because he was being bullied at school. So he, for a moment, had the victim energy on him, which made him very attractive to bullies. So we had to pull him out of that energy. But now, of course, now that you know where that energy lives, you become allergic to it, or you become extremely sensitive to it, because you know that's what that person feels like. So once you name it, once you understand, oh, that's fear, or that's victim, or that's this, or that's that. Once you name it, you know what it feels like. You don't have to be scared of it anymore, and you don't have to react the normal way. You just kind of go, oh, that's what it is. But I don't need to be affected by that anymore.
Perfect. And that's such a valuable tool, what we're going through. I know that we all stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now, but this ride is like constant change. And it's just, but if it isn't environmental with the solar photonic energy that's hitting all of us and changing our DNA, if it isn't that, it's the old systems that need to be changed and replaced, or the truth is being revealed, and it's shocking, or it's going to be an interesting ride. So I really recommend that people look at this class, the opportunity to be in this group and really evolve and empower yourself to see what you got under the hood, because we got it. All of us got it. We're all like superhuman beings, and our superpowers are just waiting to be uncovered.
Yeah, and your sensitivity becomes your superpower, because you understand that you're sensitive, and you understand how you can use it and how you can then just observe it rather than diving into it and feeling it and having it affect you and influence you. And then, you know, because it's infuriating to sort of, you know, be in this body, in this world, in survival, and know that there's so we have so much access to everything. So it's just being able to navigate our way through and ask for help as well when we need it.
Right. Yeah, I think the angels, all of us have our own little team, and they're all sitting around like this because nobody's asking for help, because they forgot. But a lot of people that are sensitive have known that they've got their team. And I know for myself, as a small child, at 8 years old, I knew I had beings that I trusted them more than I trusted out here. And that served me all these years. So what you're offering is a chance to dip your toe into it and start to be delighted with what this opportunity is here on planet Earth, and live full out in joy. Right? So Nina,
Unstoppable.
you're still muted. There you go. Okay. So is there anything else that we'd want to, I've been showing the website. The course is Living Intuitively on the milagresworldcenter.com site. Is there anything else that you ladies would like? I appreciate so much learning about this, and I'm delighted to spend the time with you so much that you don't know. It's so good to be seen and see each other, and It's so wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, we're just we're so grateful and honored here to be with you, Kathy. Love your work, love everything that you're up to. So I hear nothing but wonderful comments from others about your program. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm delighted because I'm learning just like this one. I can't wait to talk to you guys after this. Although I can't today, but what I'm finding is that I'm just meeting so many people that when I worked at Arthur Andersen, I ran a division of Arthur Andersen with 80 people. And I would go to lunch, an hour lunch break with somebody, and I'd come back with my head full. And that was the delight about working around such smart people. And what I'm finding is I'm finding those people that are smart again, but they're not just book knowledge.
yeah,
They're smart about the ways of the world and how to navigate this change and how to be in service to others. And that I'm so delighted because that's what I see. What you're doing is so valuable for anyone who's sensitive, anyone wants to live full out. You have to have this kind of a skill. You have to.
What I love is being able to meet someone who's been in large organizations, been using your head for strategy, for plotting, for planning, for overthinking, and then all of a sudden you're going into another world. And of course, we've all been through the eye of the needle as we've done that, because we're losing a particular identity that we, famous in our own living room, or very clever, or very smart, or very successful, or whatever, turned over however much you did as a business. And then all of a sudden you've got a different kind of intelligence. So somebody's being able to look at you and kind of go, you're using more than the average 10% of your brain's capacity, And I just keep wanting to see how much more and what else this wonderful tool can open up for us.
It's
that's so funny.
wonderful.
You remind me of something that's something my mom used to say to me all the time. And I used to think to myself, why does she keep repeating? You're only using 10% of your brain, Nina, or a small fraction of your brain. But but she wanted to instill that possibility, right? It's like Kathy says, it's looking under the hood, that there was so much more. That's what she wanted to share. There's so much more. She was way ahead of her time. She didn't have the benefit of community like we do, so she was very intuitive, very spiritual, but she was alone. She felt alone because there wasn't this kind of conversation happening. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, community is key to all these changes, and the excitement about learning and growing and not protecting your knowledge. That was what I just saw in Humanity Unplugged, was this community of people all eager to learn and eager to wonder. And that's what we hope our children will be. That if we can get them to rely on the field that feeds them, really, that is here as a support for them, and us, we can make better decisions. We can live joyfully. So the other thing I try to end these interviews with is, I really want people to realize how powerful they are. And what Nina and Fiona are offering is one way for you to realize that and be self-actualized in your own power. And once you are, there's no stopping you with creating your piece of the puzzle of the dynamic world that we're here to create right now. So thank you, ladies. Again, anything else? Yeah. So anything else you want to say to make sure how people can get a hold of you, Fiona?
No, I think living-intuitively.com will get you there. The 12-week series begins Tuesday, April 5th. So we're
Okay.
excited, and
I was
we hope
so
that you'll join us.
Yes, yes. And please look for both of these lovely ladies on Facebook and on LinkedIn, and look for them, and because I think you'll be surprised how incredibly talented your possible instructors are.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Love you both. Thank you.
Okay.
I feel blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.